You know, they say this call is now being recorded, but do we really know that, Courtney? Can you really trust that this call is being recorded?
Honey, we can't trust anything. We can't trust that it's real beef in the hamburgers at McDonald's. We can't trust, evidently, a vaccine that's going around. We can't trust anybody who's on the television. We can't
I trust the vaccine.
We really can't trust the Google that we're using. So, no,
I don't trust the Google.
We can't trust them.
I don't trust the Google.
Trust?
What?
This is I'ma Let You Finish, and this is our 30th show. And it's the year-end show.
We're 30th show. We're 30-something now.
We're 30-something. I'm what's her name in that show? Who was the one who always looked like a deer caught in the headlights? And 30-something.
Oh, every white woman in that show. You know, I was very late to that show because I was like, I don't care about these people. But then once I started watching, I was like, this is a really good show. But
no, that was the thing, because it was sold and it was so like Whitey McWhite. And it was like, oh God, another one of these shows. But the writing was really good. It was a good show. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but anyway, hi. In case you thought we weren't going to be on the Tangent Express. Yes.
Hey, speaking of tangents.
Pause for tangent. Why don't you introduce us, you knucklehead?
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Hello.
It is the return of White Oprah and Black Gail, kids. Courtney and Amy, I'ma Let You Finish. Our 30th show. I can't. First of all, we were gagged when we made it 10. We were shocked when we made it 20.
Gagging when we made it to 10. How about gagging when we made it to 1?
Right. Let me just tell you, I kept making us re-record the show and practice. Amy finally put her foot down and was like, look,
really?
This next show is the show.
I'm sick of going to Harlem. You have a really cute neighborhood. Wow, I really like your neighborhood. It's really easy to get to from Brooklyn, but enough. Enough with the neighborhood that looks like the Escapade set. You know, every time I go to your neighborhood, I think like...
You think of the Escapade set?
Escapade. I think it's like Janet's going to dance. No, it's
dancing down the street randomly.
Randomly. Yeah, enough with your...
If you come in the summer, you might see people just dancing randomly.
No, it's very
actually happen.
No, I know, but I was like, yeah, it was like, let's just get this fucking party started, Courtney. Right. People are trying to sleep. Like, I can't keep recording the same show over and over. Move, Courtney, move.
No,
anyway.
Remember the first show? The actual first show we did that we were going to release was kind of like, you know, our shows really started out with it is still a music-based show, but I felt like I spilled a little too much tea, and I was like, we can't put this out.
Yeah. And I think I called for the assassination of the president.
Yeah. It was
so not cool.
It was like, I think we should edit.
Yeah. So not cool. And then we went from Courtney's apartment to my apartment.
Right.
And then we decided to just really fucking make ourselves crazy and go to like outer Mongolia. Like, not even the Bronx, Courtney. Even, come on. I got off that train and I was like, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
Angela's house was great, and Angela's house was perfect to record.
Shout out to Angela. We love you, Angela.
He edits the show for us.
He masters
it. Give a big shout out to Ange and Peace Biscuit. Those guys definitely hold us down. And it's funny, and then we thanks to our former producer, Ann Kristoff, she found Listening Party, and you know, we've been trying to find different places to record, and like places like Anchor and all of these stuff. We have free podcast studio, and we saw the people that they had there. It's like Amy and I submit for us. We're like, all right, we both have decent resumes. We have real music stuff. We're doing this show. They wouldn't even answer us. Wouldn't give us a slot. Nobody. But Listening Party did, and they had a studio.
Yay, Listening Party! Yay!
So we rocked with them.
And then the China virus wiped us out.
Wiped us out. Yeah, we used to record like Listening Party in Canal Street Radio. Canal Street Radio is a great
space,
a great podcast space.
Ain't it called radio? Call radio.
Yeah, definitely. In the Canal Street market. And it was so great. And the last time we were there was March 8th. That was the last show we taped.
I know.
And it's kind of like, you don't realize how much you gotta like missing some of those people. We missing Robert Smith walking around.
Robert Smith, the K-pop conventions, the cute light-skinned Dominican guys.
Yeah, he was really nice.
So cute. He was really cute. He was really cute. Yeah, he was really cute.
And also the cute tray at the coffee in the front. You know that one coffee stand.
Yeah.
He always made my car. I was like, more phone, please.
So good. More phone.
So much.
Yeah.
Okay. So
all right.
Let's start this show off
with
some fuckery.
Oh my God.
Fuckery of fun. Okay. So earlier this week, Ames and I are on the phone. And she's like, this whole Hilaria Baldwin mess. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, because I'm so not. Listen, my white girl with problems card is filled up. Right now, all my energy is going to try to save Madonna from whatever zombie apocalypse hell she's in and trying to reverse that. So, like, I really don't have a lot of energy for some new shit. But then when you said to me, and you were like, oh, they're trying to come for her. She is Spanish. Her people live in Spanish.
I didn't say that.
You did.
No, I did not.
No, I did. No, I asked you, and you said something, because I don't think we all know even the full thing. This is before she had to come out and really say she was from Boston.
I heard about it because a colleague of mine at BMCC posted something about it, and she was like, you got to admire this girl for continuing this grift. And I was like, all right, let me go to the Googles and see what the fuck is going on. And I was like, wow. All right, so basically, I was like, wow, this is like, okay, here's the thing. There's a couple things going on. First off, just on an intellectual level, you have to admire somebody who sticks to it. Like, I don't know about if you're anything like me, but I, like, start something and then I'm like, yeah, I'm bored and I give up. This is the type of dedication and commitment to detail that, if used for good instead of who gives a fuck, she could take over the world. I mean, this is admirable that, and also,
it's very Trumpian, so I don't know if it's admirable.
No, but I'm saying it's like in the age, if this had been done in 1970 or 1980 or even in 1990, we would just go, okay, yeah, she's Spanish. Her Spanish is very good from what I understand. All of her kids have like the most ridiculously over-the-top Spanish names ever. Mm-hmm. I mean, like beyond, like it's not just Eduardo, it's like Eduardo Jesus, so she's committed, okay? Mm-hmm. But the thing is so crazy, and like when she got married, because part of me is going, all right, she got married to a public figure, the wedding was in the New York Times, the New York Times fact checks, I know this for a fact, because I have written for the New York Times, they fact check. I was like, so maybe this is bullshit that she's making this up, because how did it get by all of these? Did she kill everyone she went to school with? Did she wipe out the entire population of Majorca? How did she get away with this for so long? And just some random blogger went, hey, by the way, what the fuck is this chick up to?
Well, you know what happened. I found out. Evidently, the week prior to that, she was, I guess, was this when
she had a fight with Amy Schumer.
Right, when everybody was getting mad at Amy Schumer about something Amy Schumer said online, and she went on and she did some rant, but I guess in her rant, forgot her fake accent and was speaking like a full-on American, and everybody was like, what happened to your voice? So then a friend of mine sent me this clip of her. I'm like, I know this child was not on TV acting like she did not know the American word, the English word for cucumber. I'm like, lady, you were born in...
Which is cucumber.
Like, she's like, what do you...
How you say the cumber of cuke.
I'm like...
You've been here. You're married to an American from Long Island. Long Island.
And you're an American from fucking Boston. It's okay. All things. And then, I'm sorry. Is your name Hillary? And one of the people describe her as an average white chick from Cambridge named Hillary. I was done.
The thing is, that Amy Schumer's Chuck Schumer's niece, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there for no particular reason. Just whatever. Okay, so here's the thing. it would be it's on one hand it's comical and kind of ballsy in an age of social media. I mean that she got away with it.
How did she get away with it so long? Because this chick has been on TV.
You know what it is?
She's selling people stuff.
But you know what it is? Nobody gave a fuck. Everybody was like, yeah, whatever. She's Spanish. You know what I mean? Like nobody gave a fuck because she wasn't like going on TV and asking you to send her money.
Right.
She was just sort of one of these annoying people who looked good all the time, whatever. I will say this.
Aisha Curry. I can't stand her.
I can't stand her either. That's a whole other topic. We'll get into that. Yeah, let's get into that in another time because I can only stomach so much like animosity in one day. So I think that part of it was, you know, like whatever, nobody gives a fuck. And also she's married to a guy who's such a dominant media personality that we're like, all right, we all know Alec Baldwin is kind of a dick, but we like him because he's our dick, you know, because he's good politics and he's a hothead and we all know that about him. Okay. And also, so she was like, whatever, she's having a million kids. I will say this, and I'm not saying like I knew for a minute this was happening. I had never in my life met anyone named Hilaria. I've never heard that as a Spanish name, ever. I have been to Spain. I have friends whose ancestry is Spanish. I have never heard Hilaria. Never.
Right.
So I was like, all right, what her parents named her Hilaria. Great. The thing that is fucked up about this, other than the fact that it's ridiculous, is that there are two things that are fucked up. The first thing is fucked up is that she has gotten press in Spanish magazines that should have gone to women who are actually from Spain.
Right.
So it's not like she's a racial.
This is where it becomes damaging. It's like
it's not even that. But the thing that's really kind of bizarre to me, speaking as a white girl, why do we celebrate being? There's something unexotic about being white. I mean, you're white, you're black, you're whatever. Who gives a fuck? It's like, why Spain? Why would she be more exotic if she were French? Would she be more exotic if she were German?
Well, I think she picked Spain because the family moved there for a bit when she was a teenager or something.
Yeah,
only for a bit, and they came back. She went to high school in Boston too. So it's like, it's almost like, did you go on vacation and decide, oh, I like this, I'll be this?
Yeah, I'm Turkish, but I went
very weird. It's weird.
It's
actually, to call somebody a grifter, to me it's almost a little, it's just, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get this thing where you're living in these spaces and adding these ethnicities that you don't have, and you don't think that that's offensive or damaging, you know, like you're running around portraying yourself and acting like you don't speak the language, and then you have to admit over the weekend that you were born in Boston and your name is really Hillary.
And her mother, and the thing is that it's not like she was born in Boston to some like homemaker and a mechanic. Her mother is like a major important doctor in Boston.
Which to me again flips back to, she's been on the Today Show a million times, all these different things, and we've gone through these pregnancy journeys with her. I am absolutely surprised it has not taken this off of somebody who went to school with her or anything to be
like... Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean...
To be like, wait, like, I know this chick. She's not... Her name is Hillary.
Yeah,
she's from...
I think she wasn't enough in people's mindset. I think she was very much kind of... She didn't matter enough until she had, like, some public... I mean, I just always found her annoying.
It's this fucking pandemic. The pandemic, people are bored, so they've been digging back in. Like, you notice how they have dug back up. And this is a dangerous thing. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Oh, good.
This, you know, going in the past to periods of time when things were different, where you could have different kind of comedy, and bringing them up now and wanting to cancel people in 2020. But, like, they dug through a bit from Sandra Bernhardt's comedy act from
my personal
20
Jesus.
years ago.
She is my personal Jesus. You know that.
Yeah, I love her too. And I saw this show that she had this part. I actually saw a lot when she said that, you know, it was around the time of Butterfly. So this is like 90, 97, 98. You know, when she makes a joke about Mariah Singh, Mariah's being on niggerish on the back of the bike and all that. And everybody's like, she called Mariah nigger, and then cancel Sandra Bernhardt. And I'm like, was the joke? You look at the joke now, and everybody's like, oh, I can't believe you said it. One is comedy. Everybody, like, it's comedy. Two, you have to look at not where we are now, where everything about Mariah Carey is, I'm a black woman. Back then, that is not how Mariah was being presented. I think you know this for a fact. If you did any writing for Columbia at that time,
Oh yeah, no, she was apocryphal.
anything around Mariah Carey, you could not write she was black in print like that. It just would not fly.
But if you're white, I will say that that's not a word you use. Full stop.
No. It's
not a word you use. There are other ways. There are other ways of expressing that.
Yeah, but niggerish is that. Listen, I'm not going to defend nigger and the use and all that. I will just say it's a slice in time. It's a moment, and I think that if we start policing comedians, Eddie Murphy would not be Eddie Murphy today if he started today, because the jokes and everything that made him famous, it offended people then, but the power was different, and people got to see the genius of him. Eddie Murphy starting today would not be Eddie Murphy because all of that stuff would be scrapped. It would just, people would be canceling him. So I do think it's dangerous where the comedy world, where I kind of feel like if it's funny, anything can go. Like, I like dirty humor. I can laugh at crazy shit.
Well, if it's funny. But getting back, I just want to really briefly, the thing I think, and then gosh, she's already, the thing that there's another thing I just read about the Hilaria thing, and then, or Hilarious as they're calling her. She's hilarious.
We'll start calling her Hillary because that's her name.
Yeah, well, she can call herself or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, she can't. Not anymore. Not if you pass yourself off as something that you're absolutely not, because now you're a fraud.
Right. But
you
the thing
on TV acting like you could not speak the language. It's like
she laughed.
That's where you're right. That is a dedication, but that is also a dedication when you have taken it. Now you're like, you know what else I'm going to do? Act like English in my first.
Well, see, like I said, I think the two real kind of crimes here. The thing that bothers me the most, like I said, speaking as a white person whose heritage is European, okay? So I'm white, but I will tell you that we do in this country, look at people with exotic, and I'm putting that in little air quotes, backgrounds in a more kind of romantic kind of way. So so my background is Ashkenazi Jewish, which is kind of the run-of-the-mill regular Jewish. If I were to say I'm Sephardic, people would go, ooh, Sephardic, that's so interesting. Why? Because somebody took a left instead of taking a right when they were running away from whoever was trying to kill you. So we do celebrate the other. We do make it like, ooh, she's not just a white girl. She's Spanish, keeping in mind that Spain is Europe. So, there are different types of Spanish-speaking people there. But if you call someone, that's why people get into, people in Spain would say, we're not like Mexicans. We're different. There are white Cubans. You know what I mean? There are white Venezuelans. Oh, remind me to tell you a story about Venezuela in a second. But the other thing that's really funny is that guess which newspaper is just going to town with this story? The Post. Because they hate Alec Baldwin. They hate Alec Baldwin.
Yep.
So they are. And Alec Baldwin, if you're going to pick a husband who's the worst possible defense for you, it's Alec Baldwin, because he has no filter.
Well, doesn't it also make sense that you'd be Alec Baldwin and your wife's a scam? That also makes sense.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for Alec Baldwin, even though he's an asshole. I do have young Alec Baldwin. There was nobody hotter than young Alec Baldwin. And by Baldwin Brothers standards, at least he didn't give birth. At least he's not the Stephen Baldwin, because he's problematic.
He's a little problematic.
Father of what's her face?
The one who's married to Justin Bieber.
Right, and he's problematic.
Isn't her name Hillary?
That's where she got it from. She got it from him.
We need to check her birth certificate and make sure it's not something like Dolly.
It's really Hillary. But the thing I was going to say about a white... Okay, so a million years ago, when I still had a career, there was a writer, an African-American writer, who once made a crack about, like, Amy Linden has no cultural right to write about black music. So... and I decided, joking around, that I was like, well, I'm just going to tell people I'm Venezuelan, because whatever, who knows what a Venezuelan person looks like? They can look like me, they can look like you, they can look like whatever. So it became like this running joke. I'd go, I'm not white, I'm Venezuelan. To the point where we were watching TV one night, and the Mr. Universe pageant was on, and the Venezuelans always win that because they do a lot of plastic surgery, those girls. And my son was like, Look, Mom, someone from our country. I said, yes, we're Venezuelan. So, anyway, Hillary, Hilaria, Jaime, Mecca Lecca High, Mecca Heine Ho, whatever.
I would like to hand her the Thirst Award. She gets the Rachel Dolezal I Did It Too 2020 Thirst Award. So to Hillary Baldwin. Yes, it is. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You co-opted a culture. It's the same thing.
I just think
really is.
It's just like, and
what did you just say? She was in Spanish magazines and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Spanish was a Spanish woman. This whole thing would still be going on if somebody didn't really expose it. And then all of a sudden, the people who went to school were like, here's a picture of her from this grade.
Yeah, I will say, one of the great mysteries of 2020 will be, how did she keep this up for so long?
I think, like me, a lot of people, I don't ever pay attention to her. Like when
I
ping your channel, she's doing a cooking segment or something, I'm just like,
does she do that? I thought she was just like a yoga instructor.
No, but they're always all of that. And then this is the healthy eating. That's why she didn't know how to say fucking cucumber.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. She's just one of these bitches who just like had a baby and then would like pose in her underwear. I'm like, ugh.
Right.
If I want to see a pregnant woman of indeterminate ethnicity posing in her underwear, I want to see Chrissy Teigen, for fuck's sake, because we love Chrissy. And that's all I want to say. Not we.
You love Chrissy.
I love Chrissy. I love her.
And I would like to send this heartfelt note out to some of the people who listen to our show who took umbrage with me saying that Frank Ocean was severely overrated.
Oh no, that's no.
Hold on. And I want you guys to lean into your speaker because I really mean this, and I know how you guys felt when I say Frank Ocean is motherfucking overrated.
Oh, totally overrated.
And guess what? He may be talented. I did not say he was not talented, but to me right now it's overrated. And I'm going to need him to come out with a hit album with some hit songs. Because
he never did, though. But, I mean, in his defense, but in it, no, I will disagree with you there. You do not have to have a hit album with hit songs.
No, for all of this level of praise, eventually, everybody who we love, eventually has that one album that at least they've had a hit song with it and a hit album.
Channel Orange debuted #1.
Okay, that was 40 years ago.
But what I'm saying is, I don't judge the worth of an artist by the hit.
Oh, usually I don't either. But the praise that they're giving him, people are acting like he's come up here and has the Luther Vandross catalog.
I mean, nobody really cares for him.
Oh no, honey. I'm speaking this conversation from the amount of people that have said something to me from that statement that I made on the show. I'm not pulling this out my ass. And
no, well,
let me finish because this is my thought. Thank you. I think it is to me, it is important. Listen, I did not say he wasn't talented. I do think he's talented. But I also don't come at me like this dude has like a Luther Vandross catalog full of albums and hits that are just so undeniable. A lot of his music and songs sound like the same shit to me. So when I say a hit, give me something that's undeniable that I put it on and I vibe. I put his records on and halfway through I'm just like, I feel like I'm listening to one long same song and I always turn and put on something else. So my opinion hasn't changed, but I'm glad you guys stand for your guy, and I always root for him to come out with something that I love. It just hasn't really happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, most critics will agree. I mean, if you look at that, he's overrated. I like 1.5 of his albums. 1.5. Right. I love Nostalgia Ultra. I still think
that to me is the best work, and that's
I like but it was released as an album. And I love half of Channel Orange. And I will say that from what I understand, he is horrible live, which doesn't surprise me. But, like I said, there are a lot of people I think are overrated. I mean, don't even get me started in the people I think. I mean, but I don't look at necessarily, because some of my favorite artists have never had hits.
Mine too. Listen, I love Nina Hagen, I love Lena Lovitch. All these girls have had like one song or whatever. But I see the art in the music. When I listen to it, I hear it. for me, when I hear Frank, it all just sounds like one long song. And
Right.
and so I'm very, when I see the devotion that people have to him, it's like, great. I love that you have your fans. Now really deliver them the project they deserve.
Well, and again, but some people will say he has. I don't happen to agree with his later output, but you could say this. I get into a fight with people all the time about any number of people who are considered massively huge artists or not, and if something vibes with you, something vibes with you. There's
Right.
a lot of music. I don't understand the over-the-top praise for this woman, Phoebe Bridgers. I listen to it. I'm like, okay, she's good, but tell me what's different about her from every other quirky white female singer-songwriter. I'm not saying she's bad,
Right.
but I don't get it. And it's not like I don't get it because I have such a pop sensibility, even though I kind of do. I just don't get it. I mean, and I'm not saying she's bad, but you look at these top 10 lists of the year. Otherwise, I mean, first off, I literally, and I'm saying this not as an exaggeration, a couple of writers resurrected the unofficial Village Voice Paz and Job poll, which was always the big poll every year.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So the Village Voice doesn't really exist anymore. So if someone did it unofficially, and everyone voted in it, and it was on the internet. I'm not saying this as an exaggeration because I do tend to be hyperbole. I literally have never heard of 3/4 of the people on some of these lists,
Right.
and not only one or two people. I'm like, come on, this has got to be a fake band. Come on, you're making this up. But it means something to somebody. But I don't get the over the top for a lot of artists. I don't get, like the, oh my God, they're breaking. I guess I tend to have a little bit more commercial sort of taste. But I look at these lists and I'm like, is anyone not aware that Pet Shop Boys put out a record
Right.
this year? I'm like,
which actually was a great record. And I like Maggie's record a lot too. But you know what's really interesting?
Whose record?
Maggie Rogers. What I will say is, there's just been so much music, and with streaming now, nothing is before. This is where the marketing campaigns and things really benefited artists because you really got to marinate with them, know who they are, really get into the music. And now it's New Music Friday, and 200 songs are dropped on a playlist. You're getting little bits and pieces, and you gotta have to discover these artists differently. And so everybody's got their own little slice of something. And I'm really happy for a lot of these independent artists and smaller artists that are making these lists because, they're getting their shot. But I also think there's so much, and you're getting so much thrown at you, and there's nothing really marinating.
There's too much content.
That I don't think what's really sticking. Like, when I was trying to think what are the records I like this year, it's like there's a bunch of things that I like, but was there anything that just is still in rotation today? And I could think like the dance pop stuff this year. You know me, everybody knows I like
but it was
dance
huge
shit.
this year.
But really, but great stuff from smaller people like Sophie Tucker. To me, they made great music this year. I love Sophie Tucker.
Is that the group that they spell it weird, right?
Yes.
They spell yes.
And Roisin put out a great record. Dua Lipa put out a great record. Steps put out a great record. Kylie Minogue put out a great record. Jessie Ware put out an amazing record.
Dua Lipa was a situation where that was a big hit record.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
good for her. We're seeing now the new generation of stars. Because just face it, the ones from my generation, there's still a lot of them putting out great music, but these young kids just do not care. They almost don't care if you're in your 30s anymore. So it's really, we're seeing like the Katy Perrys and those artists kind of be pushed into a heritage lane, you know what I mean, where they can put out these albums, but it's going to be to support their touring because people want to hear the hits.
But Katy Perry doesn't put out good music anymore. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, all right, talk about overrated. I don't think Katy Perry can sing. I mean, I think she's a terrible singer.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I mean, some of the records first off, I can't remember anything. When I used to do those top 10 lists when I was like a real music critic, I'd be like, I don't remember, and especially this year, I can barely remember anything.
Right.
But Dua Lipa was definitely on my list.
That was a great record.
Yeah,
Great record.
Fiona Apple record. I didn't go back to it a lot, but I really liked it. I was Fetch the Bolt Cutters, and that was on almost every list I saw this year.
Yeah, well, they can't wait to put Fiona on the list, and she usually doesn't disappoint. And I enjoyed this album. But again, what did you say? I listened to it a lot that week. And I have not been back to it because then something else comes. And if I could be honest with you, I've just been listening to a lot of old shit. Like, I've been going through the Linda Ronstadt catalog, listening to a lot of
I think she's overrated.
Do you? I love her voice. See, that voice, to me, that voice can sing anything. And she did sing anything.
Well, I don't, it's not nice to say mean things, but I think she's a very good singer. I think
Are you kidding? This is the place to sing.
All right, I don't want to say mean. I think that Linda Ronstadt is a very good singer, but I did not like it I don't like it when she belts. I like it when she does the kind of softer material.
Oh, see, I like both. I like a good belt. You know, I'm a gay.
But I think she oversings. I'm not a fan of the oversinging. But that said, I think that she's a really good person, and she has made great music. She just never. Whatever. She never.
You know,
let me just. I just want to finish with my list real fast. So, Roseanne, I'm totally into. I love that. X, the punk band X, put out a great album this year, Alphabet Land.
With Del Bozio? Oh no, God,
you're comparing Iceberg Goldberg. No, God, no. X, the punk band.
Oh yeah, okay.
Salt. Both albums I really liked a lot, and that's a group I had heard of but never really heard. Kind of brought me back to a kind of Young Disciples kind of vibe, and that it's a collective, which I liked. Run the Jewels, really good record.
Yeah, that was a good record.
That was a good record. I will say, though, that the best title for a single this year from St. John, who I really like a lot, plus I think he's unbelievably hot. Okay, this is the title
Brooklyn
from his...
Boy, Brooklyn Stand Up.
So cute. Okay, here's the title of the song on the album. You ready? Monica Lewinsky, Election Year.
And did you see when he tweeted, Monica, you should be in my video, and she hit back, do I get royalties for this?
I know, bless her heart. I just thought that's a great... But I think it is kind of amazing that we had such a big year for dance pop in a year where we couldn't go out.
Where we could go. Like, even Lady Gaga, all of those records really danced me through this pandemic. And I know there's been a lot of other really great records that were slower and melodic, but I got to say, through the pandemic, it was so depressing, and I was losing people, and, you know, this was a hard year. We lost, you know, the matriarch of a family, my Aunt Margaret, and, you know, Fred lost his mom, Miguel lost his dad, Camille lost her mom, you know, my friend Eric died, Joshua died, you know, I needed uplifting things because it was just all really heavy, and it's still heavy, you know what I mean? It's like, we're behind. 2021, I don't think we're all going to wake up on Friday and be like, woo, wasn't last year terrible? It's like, you're going to wake up on Friday and be like, oh, this shit's still going on.
Right, but there is some light. Look, it's not like you're going to turn on a light switch and we're all going to be like, yeah, let's make out in the crowded grocery store. It's going to be amazing. But at least we know that, like, an adult is coming into the room who, you know, who believes in science, which is always... Let me ask you a question. Would you take the vaccine?
I'm not an anti-vax person, and I am saying that I will eventually take the vaccine. But fortunately, I don't feel like I'm going to have to worry about that decision for like damn near a year, because they are behind by millions, and by the time they get to us, the people, I think that's not going to be until damn summer or fall, if I can be honest.
Yeah.
And I just know that making doctor's appointments, everybody's like, oh, and then your doctor and everything. I have to book my doctor's appointments now in advance because it takes that long to get one. And it's telehealth. So it's like, when everybody has to really, the general public has to start going to their doctor and you need 2 shots, I just don't see it going smoothly because it's already not. Like, NYPD was supposed to get their doses and start this week, and they didn't get their doses. So we can already see it's behind with all of the frontline people, except for Lindsey Graham and fucking Marco Rubio, who had no problem shoving down and getting their shots in front of people. How crazy. Like, Marco Rubio is such a cochon to be one of those people standing out there poo-pooing this whole situation and then be like first in line to get a virus and still trying to have shit to say about Fauci. It's like, yeah, but you lined your ass right up and got a shot in your arm before your constituents. You, sir, are just, this year and the fuckery that has been exposed with people is just way, way, way too much. So I don't know, Amy. I think I will. I think I will. I think I will. I think I will.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling is, first off, I'm technically in a high-risk category because I'm over 60. I mean, anybody over 50. I don't have any pre-existing.
You're not over 60, Amy. You're 57.
What?
Go with it, girl. You're 57. That's
I thought you said 67.
No, I said 57. That's what I put on your new Tinder profile. I created a Tinder profile for you. Right?
Yeah, whatever. Yay. Yay for me. What was I going to say?
About the vaccine.
So I'm not in a first come category. I am a teacher, but I think teachers are in the second round, and that's only teachers who are in person. Colleges are all online. Yeah, they are behind in all this, which is fucked up. I think I would take it because by the time it got down to me, they may have worked out the kinks a little bit.
Well, that's how I feel about it, because I'm like,
but there appear to be no kinks so far. That's the thing. There appear to be no kinks.
Well, let's see. But no one has gotten the full dose yet also. Everybody's only gotten one shot. It's a 2-dose shot. Let's just see.
One of them is. The other
no,
one.
all of them are. There's only one that's going to be a 1-dose shot, and that's still in trials. That is not in market yet. Every vaccine that is on the market is 2 doses. Moderna is 2 doses, and Pfizer. One of them is 21 days apart, and one of them is 28 days apart. Johnson & Johnson is working on one that is going to be a 1-dose, but that's not in market. That's still in trial.
Right, and AstraZeneca, I think, is coming out with. Here's the thing. I mean, I think that there will be. I'm somebody who had a chronic disease for years, and it was one that didn't have a cure. And as soon as they developed a medicine for it, everyone and their mother was making a medicine for this thing. So as soon as they can start, I mean, I think I would take it. But I don't think it's going to be a question I have to concern myself with for quite some time. So it's not like
me too. I take the flu shot every year. I take the pneumonia shot. It's a 5-year shot every 5 years. I'm not an anti-vax person.
Have you had the shingles vaccine? Are you not old enough now? Holy crap. That is the one vaccine I've ever had in my life that where you're like, you must be kidding me with this shit. I was like, I felt like crap, but I'd rather that than get shingles because I've heard that's the worst thing ever. Yeah, I enjoy a vaccine myself. I've had lots of vaccines. So I think I would get it. I don't think I would get it. I would get it, but by the time it comes down to us, the decision will have been made for us. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like by the time it comes down to me, I'm going to get it because it's going to be probably a year from now.
Right.
And I will be able to see and read, and if everybody's just like cold, nobody's just fainting in the street, or if I don't wake up one morning and it's like, I am legend, and all of a sudden Will Smith drives by me on a bike, in a car with a dog, and some zombies are chasing them.
Can you explain that reference? I'm being very serious. I have never seen the movie I Am Legend. What is the reference?
At the very beginning of the movie, it starts out Emma Thompson in an uncredited role is a doctor.
I love her so much.
She's a doctor and scientist, and she's sitting on TV on like a. What was that guy's name who used to come on Channel 13? You know who I'm talking about every night. He had the greatest, him and a table. What's his name? Was it Charles something?
Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose.
It's like she's on like a Charlie Rose. It's that kind of setting. The dark room, the table. She's sitting across from this woman. And Emma's a doctor, and she's saying, I created this vaccine, and we did cancer trials. And she says there were 2,700 something people in the trial. And we did the vaccine and the treatment. And how many people were cured? She's like, 2,700 something. And it's all of them. And she says, so effectively, you found the cure for cancer. And she goes, yes, Yes, I did. And then the scene goes dark, and then the next scene it pops up. It's a desolate New York, and you can see cars that crash, but it's clearly years later because like the streets are overgrown with reeds and nobody's there. You see Will Smith with his dog. He's driving crazy through the street because he's going to the store to get something, and everybody has been turned into zombies with whatever her cure is.
You mean
for
like
cancer.
Scientologists? So are they curing people with whatever they pump into Jada and their mother's face to keep them from moving when they speak? I'm just saying.
I don't watch that show.
I don't watch it either. Let me tell you
First of all,
something.
I'm not going to watch anybody who I think is full of shit trying to tell me some shit about shit. I'm sitting here listening to her sometimes, and she's saying some shit, and there's things that I can't say too much.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, I just wondered if there's any correlation because I, for one, especially after seeing the Leah Remini show about Scientology, I can't look at these people are fucking creepy crawly to me. I mean, I just don't want to watch. But I was just like, no, the reason I ask is I always hear this I Am Legend analogy, and I have no idea what they're talking about. The beginning
was, I cured cancer, and the next scene was everybody in the world was dead, and they were turned into zombies.
Cool. Speaking of New York City, so it appears that you and I are the only two people who have not decided we're going to run for mayor of New York. And I know that not everybody who listens to the show lives in New York, but because we are New Yorkers, we think the world revolves around us. So you have to put up with
New York City girl.
So I made a short list of everybody who is declared or who is thinking of running. All right, Maya Wiley, who used to be on MSNBC, who I have sort of a girl crush on. So I just want to say that I like her. And I saw her at a show once at BAM, and she's like ridiculously good looking in person. Not a criteria for being mayor, but I'm just saying. And she would be our first woman mayor if she were elected. So she's very qualified, and
nobody knows who she is. Next.
No, in New York, they definitely know who she is.
I don't know who she is. Next.
She was a talking head on MSNBC for years, and she's a big deal. And she was in the two administrations, but I like her. Scott Stringer, who's the borough president. Okay, but he's somebody. Max Rose was the congressman from Staten Island.
Not that guy with those horrible commercials. No.
But I like him because he was running against a ultra right wing Trump Greek person. He could maybe win. Eric Adams, who's borough president of Brooklyn.
No.
Problem at why? What do you got? What's wrong with him?
Because I don't think he'll win because Eric Adams was part of the hip hop cop situation. He was one of the hip hop cops.
What do you think he'll win? Do you like him or not?
No, I'm trying to explain it, but you cut me off with the no. What I was going to say is, I think that will be problematic when you're trying to run in this city because there's so many issues between people of color and police. And what people of color are going to worry about is what side are you going to fall on when there's an incident? Because, listen, being a police officer, that oath is taken very seriously. And I know, like with my father, even retired, once a cop, always a cop. Those are your brothers in blue. And I just think that the situation between the police and the citizens of color in the city really need to be healed. And I don't know if the black ex-hip-hop cop is the one that people can do that in a way where the people are going to trust that he's going to come to the table clean slate and try to solve any of those issues.
Can I defend him for a second? Not that I'm going to vote for him because he also has the name of the son of an ex of mine. So, he's been yes, I do understand what you're saying by the cop thing, but he, as borough president, he's not sided with the cops a lot, but I'm not going to necessarily vote for him. All right, next one, Andrew Yang, who I didn't even know lived in New York.
I didn't know he was from New York. Miguel was the one to tell me he's from New York, and you were
He's from New York?
He's from New York.
Wow, who? I mean, I seriously had no idea.
I didn't either. I think at first, I honestly feel like he could be the front runner.
He's a wild card, right? People like him.
People like him. I think that I don't know if Eric is what the city needs. To me, Eric is working his politician thing. I think the city needs Andrew, and I do think that we have a very strong, that is felt underrepresented Asian community in this city, and I think they would come out for him in droves.
All right,
I
here's
do.
my one question about Andrew Yang, though. Absolutely no experience. Being a mayor is not like being a mayor is probably, they used to say that being the mayor of New York was the second hardest job in the country, and I think it really is, because being a mayor that was always the complaint about Pete Buttigieg, right? He was a mayor, but he didn't have any more executive. Andrew Yang, I like him as a person, but he has zero executive experience. So,
but it's also the shit job that nobody really wants, because once you're the mayor of New York, it's just one problem after another. You know what I mean? It's just a problem after problem after problem.
Ray McGuire, who has a lot of support in the black community, who I've never heard of. He's a businessman. You know, I wish people, I do say I'm not a fan of a politician, but it would be nice if to have someone doing the job who had done the job before. It's like a pilot. You don't want
people
your
always
pilot.
say that, right? I'm like, listen, politicians, that's their job. It's like, I don't want to go to the doctor and have, you know, the plumber doing my shit. It's like, politics is politics for a reason. It's nasty, and you get up in there and you have to know how to deal with that shit, or else you don't get things done. You know, you'll just be a name only in the city. This city is really fucked up. The city has really huge budget issues. There are a lot of issues. We need someone. I do think we just need someone fresh. Like, I'm with you. The idea of, especially after the Trump experiment, of someone who just has no experience, thinking they can run something. And New York is a very complicated city.
Very complicated.
It's really, there's just so much beneath the surface. But then again, couldn't be much worse than de Blasio. De Blasio sold himself as somebody for New Yorkers and helping the people, and the city has got more expensive under him. He's done more deals with developers. People have left the city in droves. You go up and down. Dude, you haven't been to Harlem in a while. The last time
I was in Harlem yesterday. I'm in Harlem every month.
I mean going up toward me. Like you go to you're on 118. You did not take a walk up and down 125th to see that basically all of the mom and pop stores have been shuttered. It's like now and they're everything on 125th now is Victoria's Secret. Bed Bath and Beyond. There's supposed to be a Target coming. It's all box stores, all the little mom. And so you walk up and down. It's just for rent, for lease. It's like that is the legacy of de Blasio. He got free pre-K, but for all of us who don't have children, what we've noticed is our neighborhood stores being gone. Like the support for our neighborhood businesses being terrible. Like I don't know. He's such a disappointment. So I think that we need someone to come in here after him that's really super strong. Like, do you remember that motherfucker actually thought he was going to run for president, and all that crazy shit would be happening in the city, and he wouldn't be here being like, well, I'm available by phone. It's like, you motherfucker, you're horrible.
Well, he's from He's from Boston. He's not really a New Yorker. But I will say this. I was not a fan of de Blasio, though I did vote for him. I do think he's done several good things. I actually think in a weird way he's the most quote-unquote progressive politically candidate we've had. But I will say this, that the big box store thing did start with Bloomberg. It actually started with Giuliani. And I can't blame him for the current shutdown because that's the pandemic. I mean,
no, but not that. But you're the mayor of New York. You should help these businesses. You're watching them close left and right. That's your job as mayor, to protect the citizens of this city and these small businesses that are the lifeblood, the backbone of this city. And yes, it did start with Bloomberg, but remember, his whole campaign was bringing it back to New Yorkers and a place for New Yorkers. And what he did was got in bed with developers. Like the will tell you, they shut down the hospital down the block from his house, and they're building 3 in Cobble Hill, 3 40-story towers each. It's like, why does that neighborhood need 40-story residential buildings in a place where their hospital used to be?
Yeah, they have actually, I have to say, shout out to the emergency care there. I went there. It's really good. I went there when I had a concussion, and I was in and out in 5. Yeah, I used to go to that. That was always my backup hospital. What the fuck was that hospital called? Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on Litch. That was my backup hospital. Well, anyway, it is. I do not want to do resolutions because I don't believe in them, and I don't want to do predictions.
And plus, I think the resolution should be like, let's just stay alive in 2021.
Here's something I want to think. I just kind of maybe end it up with. Obviously, this has been our not joking aside, but our kind of making flip comments aside, this has been a very traumatic year on so many different levels. Is there anything that you can think of, positive or life affirming, or something that for you came out of it?
Yes, absolutely. Realizing the true importance of great friendships.
Oh my God, I knew you were going to say that in my mind, and I'm not saying that to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
I just felt that vibe coming from you.
Because, I live alone. I'm by myself. My family, my mom and sister now, both my mom's retired in Virginia, my sister lives in Virginia. And my friendship circle, we have taken care of each other. We have checked on each other at times when, because a lot of my work had dried up, where friends would just randomly, I'm cash apping you some money so you can go food shopping. I want to make sure you have stuff. Are you all right? Like, checking on each other. And we held each other up through really difficult times. We've had friends who got sick and died. We've all had to adapt and be there for each other in ways that were very different than I'm running to the house and I'm holding you and we're sitting here and we're crying together. And my friendships were really solidified. You really find out who your friends are when things are tough. And so for me, this pandemic has really shown me that I have true friends. I have real friends, and they are there for me day and night, and I am there for them day and night. And I think that kind of brings it back to the basics, right? It's not about, we all at a party together, we're all doing this. It's really easy to have your friends when it's like we're at kiki, we're at brunch. It's really hard when everybody's going through it and, people just want to make sure you're okay. And I feel like between my friends and my family, I'm still here, we're all still here, because we've all had that support of each other. And I really hope for a lot of our listeners that they found that comfort in having someone too, because I know it's been hard. Like, I'm a pretty strong person, and I always say check on your strong friends. And I think you still have to check on your strong friends, because strong people need someone to just listen to them, ask if they're okay, and not have an opinion, sometimes just to listen too. And that was really solidified in this pandemic. So it's been a very difficult year. It's been a year of loss. It's been, plans of saving money because I wanted to buy a house, next year. Like, everything's pushed a year or two. But at the end of the day, that to me was really valuable and something that I took out of it. And it makes me happy. And I really appreciate you, and I appreciate that we kept this show going and having an outlet to talk and laugh and our little kiki text conversations. And I just appreciate the humanity that's come out of this situation. What about you?
I think, obviously, yes, it's been a very tough year on a lot of different levels. I mean, I'm a very social person. Not that I need to hang out, but I do enjoy. I had a boyfriend once that said walking down the street with me was like it took a year, because I was like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Stopping everybody. Like, it's like I literally can't make it down the street. I found there's a big difference between being alone, being by yourself. I don't want to say alone, because that has a negative connotation.
Right.
Even though I am alone. There's a big difference between being by yourself and being alone. And I found remarkably that I was a lot less freaked than I was going to be. I went much deeper. I'm not trying to sound like all kumbaya about it, but I've mentioned this before, that a lot of meditation, secular and non-secular, opened up their practices to free online. Yeah. And so I have found that to be very comforting, even if I don't know how it's affected me, but it's obviously affected me because I've become a lot less reactive, which was always a problem for me. And so I have my moments. I hit the wall hard like last weekend, but I was crying and I hit the wall, but I find myself a lot less.
Funny, I was crying last weekend too, Amy. I hit the wall last. It's funny that last weekend is when you hit the wall. I just started crying, and I cried from Saturday through probably Tuesday.
All right, I cried for 5 minutes, you big baby. You're a big baby. All right,
I think it was holding all of that shit in. You know, like my friends dying. Like I didn't cry when they died. I just was like, okay, because it was in the middle of everything, and I just think. And I was sitting there with a friend. I went to comfort a friend whose mother died, and I'm the one who was crying. Like how, like that's how much of an emotional wreck I was. But I felt like it was good because. You gotta let those emotions out. You gotta. With the thing that I always tell people, just feel it. But then I was the biggest culprit of not trying to feel anything, and finally I was like, you have to let these emotions out. You just have to let them out.
But I think what you're saying, just to kind of bring it full circle, is if there has been, and it's been tough, yes, and it's not going to get better in a lot of ways, but I think it has reminded me of the strength I have in myself, that I do have good friends, even if I can't see them and socialize in the way I want to. And I now, thanks to being bored at home, bored in the house, I'm bored in the house, I'm bored in the, I have now got an encyclopedic knowledge of British police procedurals. So if I ever get arrested, well, international shows, but if I ever, so my reading capability has gotten much better because I now read everything. But if I ever get arrested in England, Courtney, I know exactly what to do and what my rights are. And I think that's important because that's my next goal. All right. We are ending.
Wait, you think, hold on. We're not ending. That was your biggest thing? I think your biggest thing might be, I don't know, Enzo.
I've been told all right. I have to bear. Yeah, I'm under a gag order, but
have you been told that you're not allowed to?
Yeah, I'm under a gag order, but fuck him, because he doesn't listen to the show anyway. Because quote, why would I listen to you? I've had to listen to you my entire life. End quote. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, if my mother had a podcast, I wouldn't listen to it either. So my mother's podcast would not be as entertaining as we are. Yes, I am.
Well, good. He doesn't listen anyway, so you're going to have your big up right now. Let's go. We're going to end the show.
Enzo Hayes Dixon was born 3 weeks, 12/8/20, and he is, of course, I'm very biased, but he's fucking cute as a button. He's really cute, and I've seen him a couple of times, and he's healthy, and he's adorable, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing to watch your baby hold the baby. It's pretty amazing. I had a moment.
You know what? What's better than the end of the year, right? December, new life. New life.
I said to him, not to Enzo, obviously, because he can't hear or speak, even though he is a genius. When a certain person who was the father of this child was like, hey, putting it all on Facebook, I said, listen, motherfucker, number one, how else am I going to tell people? Number two, you have to understand this child, everybody is desperate for some good news. Your child is some good news. Shut the fuck up. And on that note.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Be safe. Have a great New Year. Happy New Year, Courtney. Happy New Year,
Amy. Happy New Year. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter.
Whatever the kids are following people.
Twitter, we're on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. We're really active there, so check us out there. We're on IG at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. We are Listening Party Presents.co. Listening Party, follow Listening Party on IG, follow us on IG, follow us everywhere. Please be safe. Please be healthy. Please be happy. Let's try to manifest some good energy for 2021, right? We're still in the middle of this challenge, but I do believe in manifestation, and I think if we all collectively try to manifest, these next 4 years, at least having some decency. I don't expect to snap our fingers and shit going over. But not being cursed out on Twitter every day, I think will be good. All right, people, we love you. See you in January.
We love you. Bye.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.